Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world, and welcome to today's conversation on Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sara Jane. I would also like to introduce say welcome to my co-host, Patricia.
Hello, everybody. It's just super to see you here. We're very excited about this evening's chat. We don't quite know where it's going to go or where it's been, but my goodness, it's going to be brilliant. And that's thanks to our lovely guest, that I'll let you introduce, Sara.
Our lovely guest is Nancy Stevens. Nancy, thank you so very much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure for me to be here, sharing this beautiful international energy with both of you and with where I'm at. So I'm excited as well. Both of you.
Brilliant. And I know Nancy because we've been doing a whole series called Soul Empowerment with David and Christy. So sort of we've done these before. Patricia and I have done these before, but the three of us have never done it before. So together. So our topic is cultivating the soil of your sacred self. Nancy, please share a little about yourself and actually why this is so important to you.
Thank you so much. Well, as for me, my story is the work that I've landed into doing for most of my life. It can be described as work of personal growth and self-care. When I'm not hosting shows, my work is an extension of this. I lead a lot of mind-body fitness classes, yoga, and mat Pilates. I do some mindfulness work as well with others. I work as a well-being coach, and kind of every little thing that comes out of me really touches on self-care, your personal journey and well-being, and hence my coaching practice, nancystevenscoaching.com, and also hosting my own show, Vibrant Wellbeing. So it all trickles in. Why this topic really matters so much to me is, several years ago, I found my own story being one of always maybe feeling out of touch, like I was on the outside looking in, thinking that everyone else just had the perfect life, was happy, was just doing well, everyone was just so perfect. And there I was finding myself, maybe feeling frustrated or struggling or just feeling, where am I in all of this? And it wasn't until we moved and I had 4 young children at the time, but we moved and I discovered I took my first yoga class just for me. And during a time of rest in that class of Shavasana, the instructor was very beautiful and laid hands on us and just gave us permission to just be ourselves. And during that moment, I had a moment. I felt the tears roll down my cheeks. And I knew then and there that it was up to me to begin this journey of going inward and caring for myself. So throughout these next, all these years, I guess I've been on a journey either consciously and unconsciously of feeding my own self, my own body, mind, and spirit, to grow my own presence, and then sharing this. So I guess what we most need to learn is what comes to us. And that is definitely true for me, which is why I'm here sharing this beautiful topic of taking time to really go inward and make it a personal inner journey of nurturing and caring for your sacred self, because we are sacred. I think when I was living externally, doing, pleasing, this and that, I wasn't honoring my beautiful body, mind, and spirit. And that truly is, if we're not able to be in relationship with ourselves and view ourselves as sacred beings, then things just land and fall where they're at. And you felt like I did, and that I was on the outside looking in. So that's the short version of my story.
Thank you. Patricia, have you got a story to sort of tell around sort of that
Yeah.
feeling out of place.
First of all, that was a beautiful story. And what I'm quite struck with, if you like, Nancy, is we all come to this different ways. You came to your spiritual journey, your conscious spiritual journey through working with the body, whether that was the external, how it's showing on the skin and all of that, or whether you were coming to it through yoga. So you were doing all that. While you were doing all of that, I was seated somewhere in Scotland, going within, really focusing on all the spiritual stuff and getting really involved in that, and not paying much attention to the body. But the mind and spirit really, very right brained, very right into all of that and all the things that come with that. So, and I just think a lot of people do that. We have various strengths and gifts that appear, and we're drawn to that, and we get involved in that. But it's all meant to be. I mean, it really is part of the journey, because then as you grow and you go on, you do understand that actually I've got to embrace all of this, all parts of this, and go within, because all the answers are within. I mean, they are within that soil you're talking about, and the subject matter of your talk, and really learning to tap into that. And I mean, it is such a rich soil, isn't it? There isn't anything we don't know. We women are incredibly powerful, and that is not to keep the men out in any way. They too have feminine energy, divine feminine energy, as I would call it. But we are particularly gifted and blessed with the abilities of the divine feminine. And when we marry it with the divine masculine, that's when we release all our power, and we can then do and be anything we choose to. And so, it's, for me, I was just very struck with that. I thought, gosh, you were busy doing all that, you wonderful yoga and stuff, and when I should have been doing it, because I'm paying the price now. I can tell you. But anyway, because I'm getting a hip replaced, Nancy, so you'll know that when you're not doing some of these things that you should be doing, you're focusing on something else. And so balance is needed. It would be wonderful when I was younger. It would have been good to perhaps realize that this beautiful mixture of all these things would have come together. However, I came to it the way I was meant to, and that's that. So, but thank you for sharing that. That's lovely. Beautiful story.
And we do all come to it differently, don't we? Because we have different experiences. Our childhood experiences for many sort of can leave you feeling sort of as if it's not okay to love yourself, because many don't appear to be taught that it is okay to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And loving yourself isn't something that is selfish. It is something, and it's the understanding what that really means, the loving of self, and that it's okay to start saying no to people and saying yes to yourself.
Absolutely.
And you do find yourself, did I feel out of place? I don't think, to a certain degree, I still don't feel I belong in the modern world.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, how many of us are actually here for the modern world to grow and expand into something way more beautiful than it is at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to feed our soil,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can grow from that, whatever that means for each individual. And yeah, I like to think that I do a certain amount of taking care of my body. I'm not sure it's enough, but it is one of those things. So sort of, yes. So did you feel very disconnected then, Nancy?
I was so busy caring for our 4 sons, helping with my husband's business, starting mine, wanting to show up externally to look as if I had it all together, that I did ignore my internal. So yeah, well, while I enjoyed exercise, I always enjoyed exercising. A part of that was that to-do list. You know, do this and you'll feel better and look better. But the maybe the intention behind it wasn't there. I didn't know about cultivating an intention about how to love myself. Like you said, we're, you know, in my how I was raised was, oh, you show up, you care for others, you're a good steward of your home and your work. Then you know you'll get that approval or you'll meet the mark. So it's very external focused, and oh, if you're doing this, and that means you're a good person. So getting my validation by the doing and box checking, you know, whatnot. So so it took me coming, you know, that yoga class was kind of the very tip of the iceberg about coming home into myself and really beginning to understand. And every year is every season's a new season about what does it really mean to care physically for my body, to care emotionally, to attend spiritually, and keep it all together in one beautiful ball of balance. I'm constantly learning, but that that first piece, that's how I was meant to come into recognizing this, that oh, we're all sacred. I'm sacred, and I have to feed that. It's not going to feed itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that realization that knowing it's actually your life is all about you and it ain't about anybody else. It's not about pleasing all these other people and fitting in. It really is your story, your life, your gifts. And if you're doing it in co-creation with God, then you know you are going to be given the lessons that are required to take you to the next step. And what I love, I keep going back to your lovely title for tonight, to cultivate the soil, is that when I'm working with people, I really help them to discharge a lot of the programming and patterning that Sara was alluding to with the love yourself stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and getting rid of stuff that's, you know, it's lodged there from our lifetimes, this lifetime, but we're talking about past lives as well. And then we can go on to, you know, our ancestors, all their lovely stuff's flowing through our DNA. So, you know, it's the biggest. We need 3 days to discuss this, ladies, because it's the hugest subject. It really is. Unfortunately, there are shortcuts to doing all of that. But what it does is when you discharge that level of negativity and the cellular memory stuff, when you get rid of that, you are pushing it down into Mother Earth, and she just absolutely adores that. She's feeding on that. She takes all of that negativity and transmutes it into the light, which she can redistribute and all of that. So the whole thing is actually divinely beautiful as a process, because we just need to keep cleansing and clearing and help that. I mean, that's what I've done for myself, and I help others to do that and keep doing that, because like Sara, I reckon we're here at this time for a purpose, no mistake, way shores, you know, because we've been doing this a long time. Sara, you and I can own this. I mean, I'm 30 years plus. I don't know about you, but it's you know, it's a date we must keep, as it were. And but this is such an exciting time because we've got all these changes coming, the wonderful changes coming in with the energies. So yes, it's a great time to discover and discuss all of this work. Brilliant.
And it is about discovering yourself, because your body will tell you if there's something you haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
The problem is it can't speak to you. in words that you can understand, sort of, so you get sort of aches and pains and illnesses and ailments. And obviously working with the sound, it's about the vibration, and if your vibration's out of sync because something hasn't been dealt with when you are a lot younger, there is no way you understand what is going on. You can't understand circumstances outside your parents' control. If they say they're going to do something and then don't, as far as a young child is concerned, they've just let you down. There is no understanding of that aspect of life, that actually nobody is in control of anything other than themselves. And my grandmother was very good at sort of saying, never make a promise you cannot guarantee to keep. And the truth of the matter is, you probably can't make any promises ever, because there are outside influences that can prevent you from keeping that promise.
Yeah.
And so it's with the child not being able to understand things, it's things they haven't been able to deal with. And those things we bury deep inside us, sort of, and then they do come back to bite us. It is important to do the revisitation, to go inside, to connect with the younger aspects, with not necessarily revisit everything that happened, but just become aware so that the adult can understand and support the child within. And that's really the cleansing of the soil, to give you a basis from where you can truly then grow. Because from my own experience, when I've been able to heal aspects and support the healing of the aspects of younger self, that seeps up through all our ages to the person of today. And there's just something, I've watched people sort of walk in, have a session, and the difference in their energy, I can't see it per se, but it's almost of a feeling, them almost glowing in a way they weren't before. And so some people require support to do that, but it is all about going inwards. And the supporting of the body isn't always about food and about exercise. It is about, what are we holding that it is time to acknowledge and let go. And it isn't just about saying, oh, it's that, get rid of it, because everything needs to be acknowledged within our lives. That's my understanding of it.
And I totally agree. Can I just add something though, Sarah? You were saying that you don't think you can talk to the aches and pains. And I would have to differ with you a little bit there, because I feel you can go into the pain and give it a voice, just do it with intention and give it a voice and ask it to say what it is that it's troubling it, and what emotion it's holding, because it will probably be an emotion, and allow it to speak. I guess that's bringing just a wee bit of shamanic work in, but it works. And your body will speak to you that way. And
no. When I was just saying in words, you understand. Sort of, it can't actually say to you, I've got this pain in my shoulder because, yes, you have to do some work to get to that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Nancy.
Well, I am taking all of this in. So my other part of the journey of becoming with myself was, you're absolutely right. What we are unconsciously aware of, those I call the childhood wounds or ancestral wounds. If we're not aware that we have these, or there's certain behaviors we're doing, it's all of that will not leave it. It's going to always bubble up. Maybe there's times when you're busy, when you can just, your work takes you, or your young parenting. But if that is undealt with soil in you, it's not going to leave. It needs to come up, bubble up. And that is that's doing that inner work, I found that doing work with others is what has helped clear that, is helped to remove that so that there would be new light and space in me to grow the soil of my soul, of my sacred self. So I'm just thinking about that. I recently did a session with someone, and, as it was meant to be, on that particular day, we hit upon a topic that just caused me to have to cry. And she worked with me. We leaned into that to find out that I had been disconnected from my younger self. And she did a ceremony, so to speak, where I was reconnected with my child. And it was just, I can't even explain the sensation and love and energy that came over me. That disconnect had been there for all of these years, unbeknownst to me, yet known. And because of the deep inner work that I was able to do with a caring, loving person, that fertilized or cultivated the soil of my sacred self. So yeah, and being able to have love and courage. I know that some people feel really uncomfortable, like, oh, I don't want to unearth a bunch of, whatever. But that which you're afraid of is going to stay in its own negative or unhealthy energy. And I do agree also, sometimes we have aches and pains in our body. They're a message from, the universe to maybe do a little bit deeper work, not just look at the symptom, but what's the cause of that? Because most of them are psychosomatic. I know for fact that if I have back issues, it's not because I've necessarily pulled a muscle. It's because that's where the energy is at my chakra, that low chakra. And, I need to be caring and loving to let that release. So I guess what's coming to mind is, we talk about this a lot, is having innate or curious awareness, not just seeing things at face value, but if we're feeling physical aches and pains or disconnected or, always getting stuck, that's when you're curious and you're asking yourself, what's going on here that is mine to work on, to address, to get help with, to release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't help but just because my first studies were with Louise Hay's work back in the late 80s. She really had all of that sussed very early on. I don't know, Nancy, if you've read her book, You Can Heal Your Life, but of course she lists every emotional driver that exists and links it to the organ or the part of your body that's kicking off quite remarkable work. And it's still the Bible in inverted commas that I use now. And immediately I hear you talking about your back. The word that just comes up for me is support. Where are you not supporting yourself, or where are you not being supported by others? So I was just going to suggest, if you haven't read that book, I really do feel you could, and you would gain masses of information there that me and a whole load of my friends, and I've got a wee community online, and we're all working with the vibration, the frequency of divine love, and we all tune in to, what did Louise Hay say about this? Because she really had gone into it. She obviously channeled all the information, and it's spot on. So I do offer you that.
I will. I will go get that book. Any good tools are excellent for,
It will blow your mind, and suddenly a whole lot of things are going to fall into place. And I wish it was my book, but it's not.
Right.
I always wanted to be Louise Hay. I need to share that with you. I thought, I'm going to be a Louise Hay. Well, here we are in our 70s. Haven't quite made that, but you never know. Still got a bit to go.
Gosh, that is good. Another part that I'm really interested in is working with my energy chakras, because that's an area where you want that, cultivating that your inner soil of having a good, clean line of energy in you to remove blockages. And that kind of goes, you guys, I'm assuming you work with the chakras or are very familiar with it.
Yeah.
That's that was a kind of a touchstone for me as I began to, and I'm still learning. I'm still obviously a student until the day that I no longer live on Earth. But working with the chakras is fascinating because also when in my studies of that, oh, here's funny. I was teaching a class once. It was yoga for healthy weight loss, and there was a section on. I got material from a student on the chakras. Well, I apparently was needing to teach that class because I needed to learn that. So I was just like, okay, all right, universe. Wow, really funny. Super funny. So I didn't know how the students would take it because it was a public class, and where I live, the alternative things are, kind of you can kind of touchy. So, but many people were really blown away by that about, oh, maybe I'm having this issue with eating and, nutrition because of my first and third chakra, not feeling safe or grounded or, taking in my power. So that's another area of, speaking of cultivating the sacred soil of yourself, like you said, is to work with your energy centers, to work with energy within you. And if you are feeling stagnant, stuck, you can feel that in your throat, your heart. That's a big one. Obviously, your gut, how you digest and eliminate your, feeling grounded. That's another really big area to work with. And then, well, on the opposite side of that, the physical part that I do every day is I go outdoors and ground, I center myself in nature. I find that is very key to cultivating and keeping my soil very fertilized by being outdoors physically in nature. So that's kind of, that recharges my energy and releases old energy and brings in new energy. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
No, outside is in the fresh air, hopefully sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But we've got some local woods to meet. Yeah, very, very close, literally just over the road. So it's only a small bit of woodland, but yeah, it's lovely to be out because you're going into the woods and then you are breathing in fresh air. And it's what are we doing to help ourselves? Are we getting the sunshine? Are we getting the fresh air? Sort of, it's, yes, I ground twice a day.
Yeah.
But then that was part of my journey, because when I first started sort of with the Reiki, sort of like just over 20 years ago, and that I felt like I was wandering around in lead boots. And it was just like, how can I get rid of these lead boots? And then I suppose something suddenly twigged, and it was just like, well, if I ground daily, can the lead boots be taken away, please? And so I do. I ground morning and I ground evening, sort of when I get up and then when I go to bed. And it's just like, and the lead boots have gone. And I'm not going to stop doing it because I don't want the lead boots back. Thank you. But I'm meant to be here. I think that's that thing. So if you're feeling very out of place, very stuck, and you're not feeling that you can leave, you're weighted down, maybe it is just about supporting yourself with grounding, just putting your roots down every day into Mother Earth. But I don't just put my roots down, I actually put my branches up like a tree to source, and allow that flow of energy between the two, through me, through my heart.
I like that.
And that's one of the things, sort of, well, I do it first thing in the morning when I'm still in bed, but when I'm doing it in the evening, I'm actually standing up over, we've got a place in the house where two ley lines cross. And so I stand on that point, and that is where I put my roots down, and that's where I hold my arms up and spread my fingers, so it's like sort of the branches, connecting with, reaching up and connecting with source, and allowing the energy to flow from Mother Earth up to source, and from source down to Mother Earth.
That, I think if more people did that, the world would be a more grounded, balanced place. I feel that we've gotten away from being in nature as a society as a whole. Just people are so busy on their devices, concerned with, work or personal, that we don't realize the vast healing that we have that's available pretty much to most people. I like to say everybody, but I'm sure it is, just to get out and just ground, take in the wonder of creation, cleansing, receiving. I mean, how many more? That's a big deal for me. That's made a huge impact in myself and my husband and how we live our life. So that's a big area for one of the tools I use to cultivate the soil of my sacred self is, I'm standing in the sacredness of creation, and that's infusing me with that beautiful, sacred physical and, ethereal energy.
Yeah, Patricia.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Bill and I were driving back from an appointment today, and just at the top of our road, we're out in the country, sort of in farmland, but there's this beautiful clump of daffodils, and I said, this is only January. This is, we're way ahead here. So of course I got them to get out and go and take a photograph, because I'll use them on a post on Facebook or something. But I just thought it's so important also to notice what Mother Earth is doing. I mean, she's had us all hibernating. I mean, I could have slept for Scotland in the last few months, I just felt terribly sleepy. But then you become aware she's wakening up. There are also some snowdrops out here as well. And we're out, we've got all this beautiful land around us, so we are out and about on it. So grounding, cleansing, clearing your chakras is so important. But also, you're talking about your sacred self, Nancy. I mean, now for me, I would read that as your soul, and really getting to know your soul and dialoguing with your soul is important also. And using that power of your divine intention to do that and find out what she's thinking. What are the next steps? Sarah, you were talking about this platform, where are we going? What are we doing? So maybe that's what we should be doing, getting together one time when we're not live on air or something. Let's get together and do a little bit of that soul searching. There's a phrase for it even. Together and seeing what our beautiful souls would have us being and doing next, in order to, because I really feel, all three of us are messengers, we're instruments of the divine, we've got important messages to put out and share, so it would be good to really tune in and see what soul is saying, because of course soul is part of the great soul, the divine soul. So we're all talking from the one hymn sheet, if you like. So that's really what I'm getting from this. There is a great need for us to really celebrate the oneness of who we are and the different strands that we have, the different gifts, and bringing forward those messages, and because they're all very important. I was watching a quiz earlier on today, and there was this word, what did flubbing mean? And I hadn't a clue, neither did Bill. And apparently it means, flubbing means if you're ignoring somebody, if you're on your phone, and somebody and you ignore them. You're so busy on your phone. Yeah. And I thought, good Lord, this will go into the Oxford Dictionary, no doubt. And, they're creating words for that kind of thing. So for me, that needs to be education. The messengers need to be getting into schools or whatever and talking about the effect, probably the excessive connection to technology is probably having on people as well. You hear a humming sound?
I do.
Don't hear a humming, but it's been the sound has been a little strange. But we've heard what you've said.
Yeah. That's funny because it really got quite loud there.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to clear my computer. I think there's, and I mean to do it energetically, there's something there that needs to go. Thank you. So anyway, just sharing that, conversation with your soul, dialoguing. Yeah, that's all I was going to say.
Yeah, that's very important. We've got a friend with us.
We've got something.
So, I mean, commented that we'd sort of give people sort of some suggestions. I know we've talked about grounding, sort of conversations with soul, sort of going inwards, etc. But Nancy, have you got anything that you would like to share sort of with folks, something that they could possibly do to support themselves?
Definitely. We don't just, although we'd love to think that we can just fall into this sacredness, but yeah, it takes that curiosity, that self-love, that desire to explore and move your body, mind, and spirit, your soul into a good place. But then it takes intention and taking action, right? We can think about all this, but without that intention of why do I want to do this, and knowing that, stating that to yourself, then implementing some steps. And we don't mean it in a way that, there's more to do and you're already stressed out or too busy, but it's things that will calm, soothe, ground, or open. And for me, along with being outdoors daily, I do walk my dog twice a day, and I do love to hike. I'm an avid hiker. Is for me taking time aside from my schedule to be still and silent in meditation, just listening to the messaging I'm supposed to hear, reading, and nourishing my body with good, with water or tea. So really treating myself as sacred by removing distractions, noise, of connections, and just being still and silent. That was a big deal for me, because I was equated being productive and successful with how much can I get done and do. But it wasn't until I went inward and physically sat in stillness away from the distractions that we're able to move into a much more whole, connected balance space. And I know at the times of my life, if I get busy and I don't have that time, I do my quiet time in the morning before the day starts. I feel disconnected from the day. So that is a big element, the piece of intentionally making space for stillness, silence, your meditation. I do a lot of affirmations. I'm very big on that. Manifesting, because as what we all know here is what we say or think or put out is what's going to happen. And now that I'm really aware of that, I'm very open and clear on what is it I desire to have and be, whether it's being more calm. That's my affirmation now, is I deserve to be calm and balanced and have a sound sleep. So I'm very clear on my affirmation practice and my manifestation practice every day, is a means of laying that, again, keeping that soil fertilized and cultivated. So I guess I like to see is my body is the sacred vehicle that's housing my soul. So if I'm not able to take care of my body and my brain, then my soul is going to not have that place to really begin to move forth and live from my soul out. So those are two really important first steps for somebody that's looking to do that, is that really grounding outdoors, or even just if you can't get outdoors, just looking out, out in the sun, and then just making that quiet, really beautiful quiet time. Maybe it's the beginning of the day, maybe it's midday, maybe it's at day's end, but doing things that specifically speak to you personally, not what the shoulding or the coulding, but really going inward with that. Yeah.
Thank you, Patricia.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think meditation is incredibly important. And one thing I've discovered just recently on, I think it's YouTube, but like Sarah, I'm deeply into sound and frequency and all of that. And I've discovered this guy who makes beautiful recordings that are maybe a couple of hours long, but he is playing, the one I've been listening to is 777 kilohertz, which is all about healing and repairing the DNA and everything else. And we just put that on for half an hour in the morning. I mean, it would go on forever. And there's 432 is just general healing. There's all different ones. But this 777 is lovely because I work with the angels as well, with the archangels, and it's very much bringing in that energy too. So that's something that you can, bring in and use, and it just helps you to go right into that lovely meditative space. It's fab. So yeah, so that's another tip. And affirmations, I adore affirmations, and I use them all the time. I get given them, I write them, and I'm hooked on alliteration. Everything I say and do is alliteration, I think. So, yes, everything you say is just beautiful. I agree with you. There you are.
That's interesting. So, because I've been having sleep issues, my sister actually gave me, I'm not going to say it right, but it is what is it called? Binaural.
Binaural.
Thank you. Binaural. I'm going to slaughter it. Solfeggio. Thank you. Those. So I started playing that at night. That is very, I can't even describe how it goes deep down. So that could be right up there with being outdoors, because it's doing some deep inner work that we just sit there and take it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Check out Jill Matson. She's been on this program. She's been on Gift of Healing TV. She absolutely knows. The only reason I know these words is because of Jill.
Really? Okay. Jill Matson?
Matson, yeah. She's in the States. Lovely lady, but yes, she's got some amazing music. But the Hertz music, if I ever look at it, I think, right, how do I look this up? And I think I just put Hertz music YouTube. It's just like a whole list of them.
Just so sort of 777 KH said, and it'll come up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge. The listening to that music, that healing music is, that's a big deal.
I always have a CD on for going to sleep at night. Always.
I've started doing that, and I think it really helped. The binaural beats. Oh my god! Or whatever that one. It was like, okay, it's putting me in a trance in a good way, because normally you lay there and you're like, or that would be another really key means to calming and grounding and bringing you back into yourself, right? Sacred soil. And I guess what's also coming up is, okay, if we come to the awareness that we are, each of us is sacred, then we will be beginning to hopefully treat yourself, your body, mind, and spirit sacred, rather than like, I'll just run my body through the ringer and then I'll go, whatever, hope for the best. It's like, that's come up for me. It's like, okay, going forward, my sleep issue, that's the symptom, but what is it? What is I'm being asked to really go deep and take a good look at what's needing to bubble up and be released or open. It's not just, the sleep issue. So I'm at another place in my life with my husband where we're really working to retool or bring in even more sacred grounding work. So sleep would be another one for cultivating sacred soil. So we're really treating sleep as sacred, working on that.
I have a suggestion for folks, because it is something that I make suggestions of things that I do. It's not him, take my advice, I'm not using it. As Patricia said, I work with sound. I work with toning, I work with the voice. And one of the most powerful things I found, and you haven't got to tone it, you can just, like an affirmation, say your own name. And I would always say to people, the name your mother called you as a child, because there are people like me who've changed that. And therefore, obviously, for me now, it's important that I honor the whole of me, because I did change my name. Because I was Jane as a baby. And I was christened Sara Jane, no hyphen, but they called me Jane, and I changed it to Sara. That was my insecurities. That was things that I'd gone through in my very early years. And I think maybe it was a wish to escape that, with the hope that life could get better. And I was a young child when I changed it. Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. I went from my first school, we moved, went to my second school, and it was still, I had told the new school I was called Sarah, and that confused the living daylights out of the family. But nobody knew us there. We were brand new there, so me telling the school I was Sarah, there was nobody to say, hang on, everybody calls you Jane, So I honor myself, the whole of me, because to me, I've never gone back to Jane, not when I understood, because that would have been then rejecting Sarah that I'd been for all those years.
No.
So I tone my whole name, but I mix it up. I sometimes do Jane, Sarah, and then I do Sara Jane, so that I'm honoring the whole. Now, Patricia, I have toned your name, haven't I?
Yes, thank you.
I haven't yours, have I, Nancy?
No.
Would you like to experience it?
I would.
Did your mother call you Nancy as a child?
She did, yes.
Yeah.
I was
so if you're up for this, then my suggestion is close your eyes.
Okay.
Invite your roots to go down into Mother Earth, deep into Mother Earth, anchoring into Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is sending up her love and her protection through your roots, into your feet, up your legs, into your whole body, totally surrounding and protecting you. And for anybody else listening to this, I know it'll be Nancy's name that I tone, but there will be energies of the sound that may resonate with you. And it is not about what you hear, it is about what you feel. Nancy. Nancy. How did that feel?
Wow. I saw a bright orange ball of light. Wow.
And whether you tone it, because I do call that toning, not singing.
Yeah.
And if you've got a 2-syllable name, then you break it down into 2 syllables, which is what I was doing. 3, 4, if you've got 1, because when I do Jane, it is just Jane. There's no syllables to work with other than the 1. But if you're not comfortable with the toning, then just speak your name to yourself. You're asking nothing of yourself. You're just acknowledging who you are. Because a lot of us have bad memories around our name because we're getting told off or told to do something, or and our name was used a lot. And humans, sadly, are very good at remembering the negative around things rather than remembering, because there will have been lots of times when your name was spoken with love. Sadly, we just remember the negatives. So because I do this for myself daily, I honor me. I'm acknowledging me. And it's all about, for each and every one of us, it's about me, it's about you, it's about the I. So that would be a suggestion that I would make. And I know it feels strange to start with. It really does. But it's a thought for you.
That's a beautiful practice. What's interesting is a child, my maiden name, which I kind of still have, long story short, is Ottenfeld. I got made fun of with that name so much. People would go off on name tangents, like just, oh my gosh, I was like, was over it. So, but it's funny now that I'm married, I hyphenate my name. I didn't legally have my maiden name dropped and just take my married name. I kind of just have both. Who knows why, but anyways, but I go by Stevens, but Ottenfeld is there. Maybe I'm just keep holding space for that. But
It's good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's sort of, Patricia, any sort of last words will come to you at the end. Nancy, any last words?
Well, I've really enjoyed the conversation. I think we've gone into lovely places and explored things. And yeah, I love that, Sarah, the way you do. They have a beautiful voice, actually, a very light voice. It's beautiful. And I almost asked you to do mine anyway, even although you'd done it before, but I thought, no, I better not do that. But I tell you another thing that is so good just to tone. It's so simple as simply I am, and just affirming that you are here, you're on the planet, you exist, you're here at the right time, you are here for a purpose, and bringing all that power, your personal power to it, and your passion to life, and demonstrate it as often as you can every day. And there I go with my alliteration, all the P's. But it's so simple to bring those little rhymes in and use them. And you can sing them, you can shout them. I talk to the trees, and they do make a difference. They keep your vibration up, they keep your frequency higher, and it allows you to be in that fifth dimension. It's not to negate what's going on, sure it is going on, but we need to keep above it, to rise above what is. So using all these little tools that have been mentioned tonight are just, pure gold, diamonds. And if our listeners and viewers can start doing some of those, then wow, what a difference that would make. Just lovely. So thank you so much, both of you, for sharing these lovely things. Just gorgeous. Thank you so much.
Nancy, is there anything you'd like to share that we haven't touched on?
Goodness. Just keep pushing forward in your own life journey, and know that it's never too early or too late. You start when you're meant to start, when whatever season of life that is, and really take time to honor and love and appreciate yourself. That is the most vital step of really seeing the sacred in your beautiful life and honoring that by doing whatever means. If what we suggested today is, you're unsure of or whatever, then honor your own voice to lovingly care for yourself. That would be the most overarching process from all of this, is honor your sacred self and just love yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Just put your website address into the chat and I will make sure that's under the video. But folks, if you've enjoyed this, if you want to, and I will make sure that Patricia's and my links are there as well. If you've resonated with anything, if you wish to sort of get in touch with any of us, please do through our website, or you can email me at giftofhealingtv@gmail.com and I will pass those messages on, because we are here to support you in our own unique ways, and that's the joy of having this three-way conversation, is because we really can come at it from our own experiences, different perspectives, different understandings, and the way we all work differently is very important, because not everybody is right for everybody. We understand that. And that's why we like to share the way we do. Nancy, thank you so much for sharing with us. It's been a real pleasure. I'm sure we'll stay in contact. I know that you're sadly not doing soul empowerment, but I know you've got so much more going on in your life. And so it will be great to sort of keep in touch and know where you're going. Patricia, lovely to have you here.
Thank you, and thank you again, Nancy. Really enjoyed the chat. Just wonderful. Thank you, Sarah, for everything, for this platform. I don't know, just spreading love and light. Thank you.
That's right. It's been a pleasure to be a guest on Gift of Healing TV today and receiving my vocal name tuning. That was just beautiful, and receiving your beautiful support as well. I'm going to go get the book by Louise Hay, and I'm going to affirm my name, tune it every day. So I thank you so much for having this show as a means to help others in their life journey.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next week, we've got Crave More Life with Diana Leader. So she's going to be joining myself, and that's next week. And then 8th of February, another Today's Conversation. So myself and Patricia, and we're being joined by David Tyrrell.
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name?
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, definitely.
The importance of reconnecting back to nature, which actually will follow on beautifully from this one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll have to watch.
So thank you so much. Been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you all again soon.
Okay,
Namaste.
Sarah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.